Our Ace Hardware, located at the intersection of Otsego and Pleasant Valley Drive, provides the community of Coshocton with a complete line of hardware and tools for every home project. Whether it's tools, hardware, or paint, there is a variety to choose from. In addition to their general hardware support, ours has a complete line of home remodeling products for your kitchen and bath. With a vast inventory and friendly staff, our Ace Hardware is proof positive that Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks. Bank One is located at 120 South 4th Street and 518 South 2nd Street. Coshocton has two of the 1,800 Bank One banking centers owned by Bank One Corporation, headquartered in Chicago. Bank One is the nation's fourth largest bank holding company that offers a full range of financial services for commercial and business customers and individuals. Bank One not only offers checking and savings products, but investment services as well. It is one of the top 25 managers of mutual funds. It is also the world's second largest Visa and MasterCard issuer, the third largest bank lender to small businesses, and a leading national automotive lender. A member of FDIC, Bank One is an equal housing opportunity lender. So when it's time for a loan for an automobile or home, or when you're ready to invest in your future, stop in a Bank One. With 2 locations, a friendly staff, and a long list of financial services, Bank One stands alone as the friendliest bank in Coshocton. The Coshocton Chiropractic Health Center, located at 649 Walnut Street, provides the highest quality chiropractic care in Coshocton and the surrounding counties. The health center is open every weekday except Thursdays. Walk-in customers are invited, as well as referrals. Dr. John J. Snyder welcomes the community of Coshocton and congratulates Coshocton High School for celebrating 100 years of football. The Coshocton Village Inn and Suites, located at 115 North Water Street, is Coshocton's newest executive hotel. With 64 guest rooms, including jacuzzi suites, 2-room executive suites, banquet and meeting rooms, indoor pool, spa and sauna, fitness center, and other amenities, it's Coshocton's most state-of-the-art meeting and banquet facility. Overlooking the Muskingum River, the Coshocton Village Inn is conveniently located near numerous attractions in the surrounding areas. If you stay in Coshocton, make it the Coshocton Village Inn and Suites. Easter & Company, located at 738 Cambridge Road, has created a niche in the field of designing and building unique projects. No other company has the creativity, experience, or vision to accomplish such tasks as creating a 19th century water wheel from scratch, or adding a full-length porch to an existing home without a trace of remodeling activity. Whether it's as simple as a garden path or as complex as a complete new house, let Easter & Company help make your dream come true. The Smurfit Stone Container Company, located at 500 North 4th Street, has long been a pillar of the community. For years, the Smurfit Stone Container Company has provided employment opportunities for the residents of Coshocton. And although the company has undergone a number of changes through the years, the quality of paper containers they manufacture has never been questioned. The Smurfit Stone Container Company proudly salutes Coshocton High School and the 100 years of Coshocton football celebration. Trans Service Incorporated, located at 441 Clough Lane, is the premier trucking line in Central Ohio. They have pioneered the high level of customer service in the trucking industry. Long a supporter of the Coshocton Redskins, Trans Service is always there, solidifying their motto, your link to customer satisfaction. For the Coshocton High School football program and the 100 years of Coshocton football celebration, Trans Service says, go Redskins! WTNS AM/FM radio, located at 114 North 6th Street, has been Coshocton's voice of the Coshocton Redskins for over 27 years. But besides playing music for the enjoyment of their listening audience, WTNS can also produce advertising spots and promotions for businesses, special events, and retail markets. by providing today's country music on 1560 AM and adult contemporary on FM 99.3. WTNS Radio is truly the spirit of Coshocton. It is human nature to be inquisitive. Everyone wants to know who we are, where we come from. The desire to know our history is a strong one because it helps explain who we are today. Each and every fall, in the small town of Coshocton, Ohio, there is an uncontrollable sense of pride that brings the entire community together on Friday evenings. It's high school football. Even though baseball is considered America's favorite pastime, you won't convince these people. Their history of high school football goes back too far for them to even consider another sport. In fact, there is over 100 years of football history for Coshocton High School. It makes them feel 100 years proud. On September 2nd, 1999, the city of Coshocton began a weekend celebration of 100 years of Coshocton football. But in order to tell this story, we must tell another story, which began a long time ago. It was the dawn of industrialism, nearing a new millennium. Although people dressed differently and drove early model automobiles, they enjoyed the same activities we still enjoy today. High school football was one of them. The uniforms may look different, and some of the rules have changed. But high school football games were just as exciting then as they are now. Although the 100 years of football began in 1899, the first known game that high school players competed in was on November 27, 1896. Carl Herbig had taught some high school boys the game he had learned in college. On this brisk Friday afternoon, he competed against them with the local team and won the game himself by kicking a two-point conversion. In 1899, Herbig became Coach Herbig, and Coshocton High School's first officially recognized team was formed. They won 2 games and lost 1. Bob Baker was the team captain, but there were 2 other players who would play a significant role in the history of Coshocton football. George Stewart and James Torrance Stewart were brothers. George was the father of Ed Stewart, who is believed to be the oldest living Coshocton football alumnus during the 100-year celebration. Ed played on the 1922 Redskin team.
Well, if I hadn't played football, my dad would probably killed me. One of the players on this other team was getting a little rough, things he shouldn't do. And I think Dad was playing fullback. And he said, "Oh, you call a play that takes me around that end." And they called the play that took him around that end. So he knocked this fella out when he went around. And the grass was kind of high. And Dad says, "Well, so you haven't got enough players here." There was Len back there. He got him under the chin.
Torrance Stewart played on several teams and later became head coach of the 1908 team. It was his family that owned the property called Riverside Park, which was donated to Coshocton High School in 1939 and later became known as Stewart Field. Through the years, there were other players who stand out as icons of the history of Redskin football. Harold Noble, Shorty Slaughter, Bill Gill, Deacon Gross, and Carl Sturtz, to name a few. The importance of football to some families eventually led to a dynasty of players spanning decades. The Corder family can trace their relatives who played for Coshocton High School as far back as 1925. There are coaches whose names will be remembered for decades to come. Coaches like John Kelly, who in 1987 posted the only 10-0 season and the first ECOL championship. He now coaches at John Glenn High School. The current coach, Wade Lucas, has taken 3 teams to the playoffs, more than any other coach in Redskin football history. The most recent trip was with the 1999 team, which advanced to the state regionals. But there is one name that will always stand alone. Skylar Wharton, known as Sky, coached from 1927 to 1950 and posted 17 winning seasons and 5 championships. Sky was a colorful coach, and there are many stories alumni like to tell about him whenever they get together.
Wharton, and we had a fellow by name, a real nice guy by name of Cooney, was sort of assistant. I heard Coach say one day, he said that he didn't really know how to work with assistants. And I think that was true. Most of the time he did everything himself.
They called him Skylar, but we called him Mr. Wharton. But we did call him Sky, but we, you know, between ourselves we did, but we called him Mr. Wharton. We respected him.
I want to tell you a little bit about Zanesville. We played them on a Thursday night down in their old stadium. There was 7,500 people there that night. It was on a Thursday night. And Zanesville and Coshocton was a real rivalry back then. And we beat Zanesville 21-0 that night. Zanesville didn't cross the 50-yard line. And Sky Wharton, our coach, was so excited about beating them that he drove clear back to Dresden, Ohio, and forgot to get his wife. And Elizabeth, his wife, was sitting back, and he turned around and drove back to Zanesville, and she was sitting up in the stands all by herself. And she said, "I knew you'd come back to get me."
I would say he was the coach here 40 or 50 years.
When Newark, Ohio played here, I think we had almost 6,000 people in the stadium down there. It was wall-to-wall people. There was only a playing field to play on. Coshocton won 7-6. I think they gained over 300 yards and we gained 98. And that was the same game, but of course Sky Wharton, they gave him a new automobile, a 1946 automobile, Chevrolet, and it was maroon. And but back at that time, all the players were hauled to the football games by individual cars, and it was just after the war, and practically all their cars had wore out. You couldn't get a new automobile, but they did get a new car for Sky.
Newark hadn't lost a game for 19. They were 19 in a row. They had won 19 games, and they came to Coshocton. They had won the Central High League Championship 2 years in a row. And that particular night, the community had decided to give Sky Wharton, our coach, a brand new automobile. And it was quite a task for us young fellas to play Newark because we were really the underdog in the ball game. But at halftime, they gave Sky a car, brand new Chevrolet, and the score was 6-0, their favor. And we got the kickoff at halftime, went down and scored, made it 7-6, and that's how the game ended. So we were really, really excited about beating Newark, who hadn't lost for 19 games, who had won the Central High League Championship 2 years in a row. Our coach had got a new car, and we presented him with a win.
I think probably the most interesting story on Dad, after he'd been here 20 years, a group of the locals decided they wanted to give Dad some kind of token of their appreciation of his coaching prowess here. So they took up a collection and got enough to give him an automobile. They gave him a car. And this was really supposed to be secret. And Dad, when he is coaching, he is so intent on the task at hand that he did not pick up on it at all. And at the before the Newark football game, in which Newark was favored, and Dad was very much into the coaching of the team, he had to go out and accept this gift. So he went out on the field. They drove the car out. He thanked everybody, got back in the locker room. Coshocton came out, beat Newark. After the game, I was the manager. Everybody was gone. He came up to me and he said, "By the way, what did they give me? They brought this car out, but no one brought anything out of it. I don't know I didn't know what to thank anybody for." He had not picked up that the car was the gift. So
Although the same stories vary a little, the players' memories of Coach Wharton will keep his reputation alive for years to come. The highlights of Coshocton football are numerous, and it would take years to accurately document all of them. But they are etched in the memories of players, cheerleaders, band members, and fans. That is why Friday evenings in the fall become a very special moment in time and a magical experience for all who attend the high school football game in Coshocton.
There's nothing like high school football in Coshocton.
Last Christmas, '98, I was at a high school wrestling match here in Coshocton. I approached Jim Lose, who was the president of the Coshocton Football Boosters, and I asked him about the possibility of designing a logo for in the middle of our football field for the '99 season. I wanted to help out with the game preparations for our home field, home games. Jim said, maybe you can design a logo for the 100 years of football. That's the first I'd heard of it. He said, well, come to the next meeting. So I went to the next Booster Club meeting. One thing led to another. I was asked to organize and head a group to commemorate this event, to celebrate our 100 years of football. So we had a meeting, and one of the first things I did was ask, I had several people that came in to the committee. One of the first things I did was ask, is this really 100 years? They did some research and found out we actually had a high school team in 1896. But they didn't play any other high schools, they just played local club teams. 1897, we did play another high school, Millersburg. But it wasn't an official league game. We didn't join a league, I guess, until 1899. So that's our first official team was in 1899. If you did the math, 1998 would probably be the 100th year, but we like the numbers 1899 to 1999. That's why we celebrated it now. Susie Nolan and Rodney Chapman did all the research. Tremendous amount of work. Our entire celebration was based on their findings. I know that when they first started, they were just going to try to find out, is this our 100th year or not? And they kept getting more and more information, stacks of information. And they said, what do we do with it? You know, what do we do with all this, this info? We knew we had to at least give it to the school for their records, because as far as we knew, no one had compiled a complete history of Coshocton High School football. I know in the back of their minds they'd always had the idea of doing a book, but it seemed pretty tough to get to because there was so much work in just doing the research part of it, and we had such little time. But you know, our first meeting was February 23rd, '99, and by mid-August, they had a complete printed book, 100 Years Proud. So that's kind of how it came about. We had some other people come on board to help out with the memorabilia show and the breakfast. People help us sell things. Of course, I mean, there were hundreds of people involved, you know, in town, and the rooms, AVS, you know, the media, I mean, everybody. So it's been a complete community event, and it started by just a few people talking about it, and somebody maybe volunteering when he shouldn't have.
The 100 years of Coshocton football celebration began with a parade of the 1999 Redskins football team, the cheerleaders, and the Coshocton marching band. It concluded at the Courthouse Square, where they were greeted with cheers from hundreds of fans and alumni.
Good afternoon,
Tom Thompson of WTNS Radio was the master of ceremonies.
100 years of Coshocton football pep rally celebration. Glad to have you with us. When you're at a pep rally, you have to have a lot of enthusiasm. We have several things we're going to do with official business. But first of all, let's just everybody kind of loosen up for a second. Big roar for 100 years of football at Coshocton High School. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. What a great weekend we have planned. And we hope that you will take in as much of the activities as you can, including the ball game tomorrow night against Ridgewood. It's my pleasure right now to introduce the mayor of the city of Coshocton, the Honorable Charles Turner. Mayor Turner has issued a proclamation to commemorate this distinguished event. He's asked me, because he's kind of a little bit under the weather with his voice, to share this with you. So I would like to read Proclamation in honor of 100 years of Coshocton football. Whereas in 1899, Coshocton High School played its first official football game. The members of that team were Cliff Adams, Robert Q. Baker, Cliff Beach, Grafton Carnes, Carl Herbig, Billy Hill, Roy Kitchens, Will Lemma, Cliff Miller, Frank Ricketts, Ernest Smith, George F. Stewart, James T. Stewart, and Dr. Arthur Temple. And whereas for 100 years, many of Coshocton's young men have dedicated themselves to bring honor to their school and their community. Along the way, they have been supported by a great number of other young men and young women as band members and cheerleaders. The citizens of Coshocton have always supported the efforts of these outstanding students and now wish to celebrate the milestone we have all reached together, 100 years of Coshocton football. Now, therefore, I, Charles A. Turner, Sr., Mayor of the City of Coshocton, Ohio, do hereby proclaim 1999 to be a year of remembrance and celebration for Coshocton High School's 100 years of football. Signed, Charles A. Turner, Sr., Mayor. Round of applause, please, for the proclamation. Mayor Turner asked me to make sure that everybody here understands he was not present for the first game, right, Chuck?
Other dignitaries, such as School Superintendent Tony Scott and Head Coach Wade Lucas, addressed the loyal supporters.
Whether you players realize it or not, you are being watched and in many cases imitated. As we all enjoy today's pep rally and festivities, I want you to know that I salute you all. I salute you for your athletic abilities as well as your efforts in the classroom. Tomorrow night will be an exciting time for all of you in this community. It is my sincere wish that you enjoy every minute of the experience. And the coaching side of me reminds you that when you're on the field, to be sure to give your 1/11th. Give your best effort every play. Good luck tomorrow night, and let's have the opener for the 100th year of Coshocton football begins with a victory. Thank you.
Mr. Scott, thank you very much. Next on the program, it says, Tom Thompson makes statement about Coshocton football. And the only thing I can tell you is, none of you seated here or standing here this afternoon came here to hear me speak, and I understand that, so I won't. This is the 27th year that I've done football games, including Coshocton games on WTNS radio, and it really makes me appreciate, because 27 years is a long time to do this continuously, really makes me appreciate, and I hope you folks have a feel also for what 100 straight years of football is for a community our size. It very much is important to our community and very much appreciated by so many people. Now, more importantly, if I could direct your attention to the flatbed truck behind us here, and your attention to the Coshocton cheerleaders, please. It's my pleasure now to introduce to all of you a man who needs no introduction to this crowd, the man who is the dean of the area high school football coaches, now in his 11th year at Coshocton High School. Could we have a warm welcome, please, for the head coach of the Redskins, Mr. Wade Lucas.
Thank you. On behalf of the football team and Coshocton High School, I'd like to welcome everyone here this afternoon. And I've got a good feeling that if you come back tomorrow night, and I'm sure that you will come back tomorrow night, you're going to see a nice show put on by this 1999 football team. Seniors, I would ask you please come up right now, seniors. First of all, we have number 78, Abe Bartunik. Next, we have number 18, Joe Rucker. Next is 55, Nate Corder. Number 33 is Brian Birchie. Number 26 is Josh Sweat. Number 50 is Jeremy Hunley. 71 is Scott Donnelly. 52 is Earl Grogro. And 28 is Jared Brickles. I'd just like to mention that the captains of the 1999 Coshocton Redskins, Joe Rucker, Abe Bartunik, Nate Corder, and Scott Donnelly. And out of the four, they have chosen one guy to speak for us, and you can about imagine who that is. So at this time, I'm going to allow Joe Rucker 1 minute on the microphone, and he has a few things to say about this year's football team. Joe Rucker.
Okay. First of all, we just like to say, thank you to everybody that's out here. This is tremendous. We really love this. We feel we're the luckiest kids that in the world. It's the 100 years of football. And we're the seniors. Wow. But anyway, we're going to go out there. We're going to put on a show for everybody. Everybody's going to keep their act together. We're going to, everybody. That includes me. Ha ha. But we're not going to guarantee victory or nothing, but we will guarantee that everybody that gets out on the field is going to give 100% effort. And if you ask that, good things will happen. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Again, thanks for being here. I want to remind you that at 6 o'clock, there's meetings up at the high school. And, of course, tomorrow night, gates open at 6 o'clock down at Stewart Field. It's going to be a great, great ball game. And I can't think of a better way to celebrate 100 years of Coshocton football than to hammer Ridgewood tomorrow night. Guys, I want you to come up here on the gazebo. Come on up. And we're going to get a break and get out of here.
1, 2, 3. Big Arrow!
Although team captain Joe Rucker did not guarantee a victory over Ridgewood, he did assure the crowd that they would certainly witness a good show. The pep rally was an appropriate kickoff for the 100-year celebration. It was a reunion of old friends and family, of alumni and current members of the team, cheerleaders and band members. It established a climate of friendship and camaraderie that would last the weekend, typical of small rural communities.
We've got a guy in here that played back in 1922. Obviously, he's the only one I told him.
Good luck. How you doing? Good luck. There's my man. How are you doing? Good luck. Good luck. How's everything going? Thanks for the nice call.
Where's that little Jason?
Bring the generals tomorrow.
Good job, boy.
How are you?
What do you play?
So you know what we're playing. Good to see you. Good luck. Keep it. Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck, y'all. You guys got a good team this year. I've been reading about you. Yeah, we just moved here from New Jersey to see you. So have a big one tonight. You boys help me?
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Where's that guy? You were a lot better looking the first night using the paper. You know that? I just left it like that. You got more dates. Huh?
Twice as the paper saying 2 nights ago. 86. When you met a reporter today. Yeah, me too. 86.
Good luck, guys. Good luck, guys.
86.
My 2 words for you is
Good luck to you. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Later in the evening, the alumni were invited to the high school for registration and other important announcements. There, members of the football teams, cheerleaders, and band members reminisced about how things used to be.
I remember we were undefeated in the league, and Zanesville was undefeated. We played down at Mark Gray Park, and the stands was full, and I don't know how, during Depression, I don't know how all the people from Coshocton got there, but they was lined 5 and 6 deep clear around the field, end zone and all. The field was only 90 yards long. That's right. 1934. Wharton forgot to tell us. They kicked off to us, and we didn't move the ball. Now, do you remember this, Joe? And the referee came back to me and said, "You want to borrow 10 yards?" I said, "Position my men, it suits me, but what are you talking about?" But he said, "Didn't the coach tell you this field's only 90 yards long? You can borrow 10 yards, then after you kick, we give the other team a 10 yards back."
Probably the greatest story that happened to me was when Jerry Apollotti, our coach, came. I was a sophomore, and we were green as green could be. The season before that, I think it was 1-9 or 0-10 or whatever, and we played Mount Vernon at Mount Vernon, and they were ranked in the top 5 in the state. They had one All-American on their team, and we got beat badly, 60-0. And after the game, Coach Apollotti, he threw chairs, he threw helmets, he got on his knees and he cried, and he says, "Everybody get on your knees. I want to tell you something. I've never been embarrassed so much in my life." He said, "But we play these guys next year. No matter what happens, we're going to beat them." And we did. The next year we beat them. So that was probably the biggest thrill of my high school, career. Because he was a great man. He was a great coach.
Like we were small for whom we played. We played against Chillicothe, Zanesville, Lancaster, Newark, Cambridge, and we scrimmaged Canton McKinley. He would get scrimmages, and we scrimmaged Canton McKinley when I was in high school. And we didn't have enough players. We played both ways, defense and offense. You were tired to end the game, I'll tell you, Sarah. But
probably the most memorable ones were the ones where they came into the training room. We would go, "We have to shut up now, Casey's here. We can't talk about that." My most memorable one was my senior year. They had us all in the locker room after the final game against St. Clairsville, which we won. And it was the first time I'd ever been in the locker room after the game, and the coaches are always asking, best plays, most memorable moment from the game, and I actually got to say something that year, and it was pretty cool. I don't remember what I said, though. Don't remember.
But Newark in well, I'll be 36, I guess. They had a big black fullback named Giles, I think his name was. He weighed about, well, he must have weighed close to 300 pounds. He was huge, and he could run pretty well. Anyhow, like I said, I played safety on defense, and this one time he came through. I thought maybe he'd go watch that. I weighed about 135 pounds. He lurched into me and knocked me down and ran right over me and went on. He didn't make a touchdown. He stumbled, I think, going over me. And old Dave Thaxton, I think it was, and Gene Schaefer pulled him down from behind. So he didn't make a touchdown, but that was they really had a big laugh. The guys came back, deliberately came by, not my team, the other team, and just to make fun of me, you know.
The fight song. I didn't think the fight song would change, but it changed. But that's okay.
Do you know what year that changed?
Do you know, Kim?
95, probably. 94.
Recently, like in less than 10 years.
I think it was 94.
Because I was like, well, fight song, that's definitely one song I could do. So Nancy and I have stayed in contact kind of off and on over the years as I've moved around a lot. And just happened to be, that's Nancy right there. Just happened to be up for Canal Days 2 weekends ago. And she's like, Martha, you're not going to believe what we're doing. And I said, okay. And we practiced over at Donna's house, and we had a blast. It was great seeing everybody. And I was like, well, I left this small town, but I'm really proud of it. There's a lot of neat things about it.
Marietta, and I intercepted the pass on the 30-yard line and ran for a touchdown in the last 30 seconds of the game. I'm a center, but playing defensive back on defense. The following year, we played in Marietta. The score was 0-0, and there was only about 30 seconds left to go, and they threw a pass. They had the ball and threw a pass. I intercepted the ball on the 35-yard line. I run for a touchdown, and this is a homecoming game. So, not one to look a gift horse in the face. I got it 2 years in a row against Marietta.
I'm going to say New Philly game. When first series of the game, I broke an 89-yard touchdown run. And then the score was real close after that until the fourth quarter. And we ran a passing play, and I ran the wrong route. But somehow I cut back across the field, and Joe found me and caught the game-winning touchdown. We won 13-9. Our last game of the season at home. And so that'd be the best story that I can think of. I mean, just the feeling. Everybody jumped on me in the end zone, but it was great.
On the sidelines, you get a lot of different perspective. And even though we don't get the same recognition the players get, I don't think the team can really get along without us, because without us, they'd have to carry all the stuff themselves. The only problem being a manager is if something ends up missing, you're gonna get blamed. I mean, that's basically.
It's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of laughs and stupid things we used to do, and we've had a lot of fun reminiscing, and when we hit each other, and then we remember that.
My favorite memory would have to been the Ridgewood game, because it started out, they scored on us first, and then we came back right the next series, and scored back. And it went into halftime. Right before halftime, we had a kickoff. We ran down the field. I remember hitting this dude. Me and my friend was trying to get down there as fast as we could, and he hit the guy with the ball. I hit the dude right beside him. And when I stood up, it was dim. The lights was dim because the lights went out. It ended up, that was like, we had like hour and a half long halftime. And when we came back out, we was just ready to go. We was ready. And Ridgewood just let us have the game after that. They just gave up. It was great.
When we twirled fire, it was our first time twirling fire, and they turned off the lights, And after we were finished, they turned the lights back on. We looked down, and none of us had hose left. They were great big holes all over our hose. So the next time we twirled fire, one of the majorettes, we had to soak our hose in this stuff that really did not smell well, but it worked. It was fun.
Well, the first 2 years we was like 0-20, and we was working on trying to, break that streak. And we did when we played Ashland, came down here and we played Ashland at that time. And I think we beat them 28-14 or something like that. And I kind of took the monkey off our backs, and the whole team had a good sound game. Everybody played great. I mean, just like we were on all cylinders, we played real great. And I had like 100, and I was running back at the time. I think I carried the ball like 11 times for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Todd Maxwell, he threw the ball. I mean, we just played great. We had the confidence. I mean, we just felt like we could beat these guys. And to get, that's all we worked for, to get that monkey off our backs, because we did play some tough schools when I was playing.
We played Dover one year here, and it was kind of an off year after Deacon Gross graduated. And we were playing Dover, and they kicked off to us, and the ball went in the end zone. And I stood there for a minute trying to decide whether to pick it up and run or just down it. And finally I said, what the heck, I'm going to pick it up. I picked it up and ran 105 yards for a touchdown. And the guy who kicked off later became my best friend at school at Ohio State. We both went to Ohio State. And he told me, this was years later, he said, now Elwood, whatever you do, don't kick the ball to Sturts. And he said, I came out of that game after you picked it up and went 107 yards, and he was furious. Why the hell did you kick it to him? So, it was just a fluke, and because the ball rolled on the ground about 30 yards, and that was a big thing for me. And I played on a couple COL championship teams, and I can tell you, if you got the guys blocking for you, you can do anything, and if you don't, you're not going to win. So we had some good blockers, and I was successful because of them. So that's my story.
Okay, well, my maiden name was Sandy Baker, and I remembered that one year for tryouts, I was a hobo, and the old music teacher, Mr. McCluggage, he was a wonderful man, and he lent me one of his old suits, and I cut it up, and I put patches all over it, and I got a park bench, and I played the spoons, I did hat and cane, and danced on top of that bench, and it was a lot of fun. So I remember that. Yeah. Oh, something else. Every year I tried out, we all got a number. Okay, we pinned the number on, and I was always number 3. And I still have those 3 numbers, and I soon found out in my life that 3 is my lucky number.
What was the best? First team in 41 years or 40 years to go to the playoffs in 1987. We went 10-0. We were the only undefeated team in the 100 years, which I think is kind of neat. We'll see if this year if they can do it. We had one of the best memories. Probably up at Loudonville. We were down 14-0 going into halftime. Mr. Kelly come in the locker room, and we were never down at that point in time until that was the first time we were down at halftime, and he come in, and some of the guys, the linemen were upset, and I only weighed about 160 pounds, and they averaged me in, and he come in and threw his clipboard down and goes, I hope the hell you guys are happy with this, and then he left. He was mad and left, and never would come back in and did anything else. We went out and won that game 27. We scored 27 unanswered points. That was very amazing. Matt Lingo ran very well, but Matt, and he would tell you the same thing, that if it wouldn't have been for the boys up front that were Mike Bartel and Chris Keller and Kirk Mathey and John Shutt and the boys like that, the linemen, we never would have done anything we would have done because them boys were quick and they were big.
Well, I worked 47 years of baseball and softball and 35 years of football. And the night I found out that I was going into the Hall of Fame, I was sitting watching TV at home with my wife, and she said, "There's some fella on the phone wants to talk to you about officiating." I said, "Didn't you tell him that I had retired?" So when I got on the phone, the guy spoke, I knew who it was, and it was Joe Prozac from Riverview High School, and he was on the committee over there. And he said, "I heard what you said." I said, "Well, I'm just a little sick, Joe, and I was just getting ready to go to bed." And he said, "Well," he says, "I was over Columbus today," and he said, "We voted you in the Hall of Fame." And I said, "Joe, you're kidding me." He said, "No," he says, "you're in the Hall of Fame." He says, "You'll be getting a letter on it," and that was Friday night or Saturday night. And Monday morning, I got a letter from the High School Athletic Association telling me that I was voted in the Hall of Fame.
Well, my sophomore and junior year was Dave Potts, which was not a good period in football in Coshocton. My senior year, we finally won a couple of games, broke the 0-24 season. I blocked the punt my senior year that won the game at Morgan, the first game of the season. They had won the state. They'd been to the state playoffs the year before, beat them down at Morgan that year, won the first game of the season. Then I recovered a fumble against Ridgewood. We started the Ridgewood series in 1981 or 82, I believe, and we lost the first two games, and then we won our senior year, and then we've won a lot since then. But I recovered a pitch out. I was an outside linebacker on the 4-yard line, going in on their 4-yard line, and that was a touchdown that kind of put the game out of reach. So I had 3 fumble recoveries in the Ridgewood game in 1983.
The biggest thing, I was so afraid of trying out for majorettes because they didn't wear skirts and you just had to wear this bodysuit with like glitter on it, you know. And I was so afraid to try out because I did not want to be prancing around and like, you know, nothing. I basically felt like I was going to be out there absolutely nothing, but they did get uniforms with skirts, but the drawback was that the sleeves were long and they were clear, you know, down to your wrists, and so it was a little hot, but not as hot as it could have been. But I have had a lot of fun meeting the other girls, and I don't consider them older than me by very much at all because they're wonderful and they twirl so well, and I just hope that when, you know, I can say, "Oh, I've been out of school for 18 years," that I'll be able to still twirl. But it's so much different, you know, their twirling styles from what we did, because they did a lot of like arm movements, you know, to some of the songs that we did a lot of like twirling, and I just think it's so neat to be able to incorporate both twirling styles together to create routines that look nice. So.
Well, I went out when I was a senior. I was a wrestler, and Coach Anderson came on board and he recruited me, asked me to play football. Nobody ever talked to me about playing football before, so I told him I'd play, and so I wasn't a starter. I'd go in once in a while, but the best thing, the funniest thing that ever happened was Bob Bury, he was my best friend. He ended up winning the discus. He won state championship in the discus senior year. We went to Mansfield Malabar, and the booster club rented a bus for us, a nice big, you know, luxury bus. Well, Bob and I were big eaters. We were the first ones off the bus at the Ponderosa in Mansfield. We decided we wanted some ice cream, so we told Coach Anderson we'd run over to the Friendlies to get a sundae. He said, "No, we were going to be ready to leave and just stay here." Well, there was enough commotion. We slipped out, went across the highway and got our sundaes. We came out and there was a bus taking off. Luckily enough, we got on a parent picked us up and followed us home. And when the bus pulled into the high school, we slid out of the car and went to the bus and picked up our stuff. They never knew we were gone. We were real lucky because we would have ran forever on that one. But
yeah, we went over and played Cambridge, and they were the CUL champs the year before that. And they beat us badly at home, They played us Coshocton here and beat us badly. And we went over there, and the coach's name was Bud Dean. He's the first guy after Sky Wharton. And we were ahead 30-0 with like a minute and 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and had the ball on Cambridge's like 25-yard line. Instead of running the play and running the clock out, he called timeout and had our field goal kicker line up. And they kicked the field goal, made it 33-0, and we never figured out why they did that. But then we found out later on that he didn't have highly regards for the coach who was from Cambridge. That was a funny story.
We won the championship the senior year, 08-1. We tied Newark down here 13-13. And the first 2 years, I think altogether I lost 3 games, 3 years. Well, we just had good companionship. We had a great defense. We won most of our ball games on defense. We just had a lot of hard hitters. But
that's true today, isn't it? If you don't have a good defense.
That's right. You don't have a good defense, you don't win. Of course, back in them days, they think we favored them big balls. We did, and we favored them little balls. My grandkids has always told me about that big ball you played with.
Graduated in '98. I'm the baby, but I'm having a lot of fun 'cause everyone's got their own little styles and incorporate them. So it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So.
And we played in the golden era of the older golden era of Coshocton's football sports, and we played smash mouth football. The highlight of my career was when we played Zanesville in my senior year in fall of '41, and they scored a late touchdown on a long run and led us 7-0 with under 2 minutes to go, and we punted, and the ball went over their end zone, and the same man who had run the touchdown decided to be a hero and run the ball back, and we tackled him for a safety, got the ball with a little over a minute left to go, scored on the last play of the game on a pitch out, and beat Zanesville 8-7.
Sure, I think that football or any sport is good for youngsters, and it gives them a lot of determination. Mainly they can come out and sort of prove themselves that they can do it if they make up their mind to. Of course, we were lucky to have Sky Wharton teach us at that time, and he really got boys to do things that they really weren't capable of. Instead of getting 100%, they got 125%. And I think that that's hard to get produced out of anybody. But those kind of efforts were put across at the football field, and we still do that. Those of us who are still working, we still apply that to things we do today, and I think that's important for people to do that.
Dad was also a very good friend of Woody Hayes, and Dad has all kind of fun stories about Woody. Dad was coaching when Woody played up at Newcomerstown, and they remained good friends. Woody met his wife Ann at a Coshocton football game when he was scouting, so they go way back, and there's always good stories to tell about Dad and Woody. But
it was interesting.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting part was having to change on the bus.
Yeah.
Because you always had some guy looking at you. The girls are holding a blanket up, and the guys still try to peek around anyway.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter who you are, they're still looking.
We had one trip, we were going to Youngstown, which is like 3 hours away up towards the state of New York, and you probably remember this one. But we got lost. They keep saying it's half hour away, it's half hour away. You know, we're scrambling to get our clothes on, and
Turns
we're
out-
an hour out of the way, and we're like sitting in the hot uniform on a bus, no air conditioning, and it's still like 80 degrees outside. It was crazy.
We won, but yeah, we won big time, but it was not
crazy.
comfortable.
It was a 3-hour trip, but it turned out to be 4.5.
Yeah.
Oh, I've gotten millions and millions of memories. My memories are about guys like, and I still call them my heroes. Deacon Gross, he was my hero. Bill Toach, I don't know if you had him down here or not. Oh, yeah. Okay, he was my hero. Carl Sturz was my hero. In the first football game I can still remember, Bill Toach's dad worked for my dad. My dad owned a restaurant downtown. And Bill Toach, his dad, worked for my dad. Of course, then I knew Bill, and Bill lived up the street from where we lived on Chestnut Street. He lived on Chestnut, we lived on 9th. But I always tell this story about Bill. Bill had a Model T back in those days. And of course, we didn't even have a car. And, you know, in the mornings, we'd be going to school. He'd be trying to get that thing started. And he'd get all of us kids. He'd say, now, give me a push. You know, get me started, and I'll take you a ride. Well, I pushed that damn Model T all over Coshocton. I still haven't had the first ride in it yet. And that was Bill Toots, that's why. But first football game I can remember ever seeing, I was in the 5th grade. My dad took me to the game, and we got there late. I walked in, and we stand right there in the fence, and Bill Toots ran down there, leaped high in the air, and caught a touchdown pass right in front of me. And I'll never forget that as long as I live. And Deacon Gross, you know, he's just a god. As far as I'm concerned, he's my hero. These guys are my hero. And you know, I've always tried to play football like they played it. That's the way I played, and I thought it was pretty good.
As far as I know, I was the first trainer actually at Coshocton High School. I was a student trainer. I started in '93, and I worked through '96. So, yeah, after about the first week or so, you kind of became immune to the smell of feet, and to this day, I still can't smell them. So it's kind of been a blessing in disguise.
Well, actually, I've always been an athlete. I physically and mentally like contact. I was the first wrestler from Coshocton to go to the state. I just like to hit people.
We've got a fellow by the name of John L. Martin, a black man that was here, and he was here he played probably 51, 52, and 53, and I tried to locate him to get him to come to this. He lives in the Columbus area. His brother and sister-in-law lives in the Columbus area, and he got an aunt lives there in Coshocton, and I tried to find him, and I couldn't. And I saw several. He's one of my heroes. This is back in the 50s, but things were still like they were with black people and white people. And I'm the guy that rubbed his ankles down in the locker room before the games because we had a couple other guys that wouldn't. And John L. never rubbed off on me, only goodly. And he'd see me around town, he'd grab me and hug me, you know, because that meant a lot to him. But some white guy would rub the backs of his legs down, rub his legs down for him before a football game. Yeah, he's a hero.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the fans from Coshocton and the supporters of this high school team. They're unusual. When I was a junior at Ohio State and we went to the Rose Bowl, we had 44 members of that team. And I was the only one whose mother got to go at the full expense of the Coshocton boosters. And I've never had the opportunity to thank them fully for what they did for my mother and my nephew. She took him along for company. But they stayed in Beverly Hills in a man's home who was from Coshocton, who went to LA to build superhighways, interchanges. And his name was Bach, and he was from Coshocton. And John Gleason, who was a lumber dealer here, talked to him about my mother staying in his home, which he did. And he lived in a very influential neighborhood. James Mason was one of the neighbors, and Jack Benny was just down the street. This goes back a ways. So anyhow, he had servants, but he insisted on getting up every morning to serve my mother and my nephew breakfast. So I was the only one in that whole team that had that happen to, and it's all because of the Coshocton people. They love their team. It's a great place to live and grow up and raise children. And I had the best time of my life right here in Coshocton.
After registration was completed, the alumni football players were invited to Stewart Field, where Coach Lucas was preparing his team for the game with Ridgewood the next evening.
All kind of stuff. I didn't do this the last 2 years. You been in there, Brandon? Yeah. Boy, that's green. Don't look like the one we use. After we watch the films, we'll go out on the field for a little bit. Remember, come out here, loosen up. You know, don't play a flag football game out here before the game. All right? Guys, again, you know, just like every week, we have shown you everything that we know they're going to do. It comes down to the simple fact of us doing what we want to do. Executing offensively, coming off the football. Defensively, I want those guys, every time they touch the football, I want 7 guys on that pile. And I want them going backwards. We're going to mat tackle every one of those guys. Yeah. They don't want to touch the football. Remember, we don't play the football game pre-game. Right? We play it once the whistle starts. Let them win the pre-game. That's the one thing we allow them to win. They can do all their fancy stuff and all that stuff. Once the whistle starts, though, I want everybody running to the football. Questions? Good enough, you better tell us. We got the best D! Hey, we got the best backs. We got... Joe, we got the best O-line. We got... Best defensive backs. We got the best quarterback. We got By the way, who's got it tonight? Nate. We got the best depth. Good. We got Jeremy. We're at home and no one's gonna beat us at home. No way! We got the best coaches. Better looking also, right? Nate. What else? That's right. Who else we got? Is it Nate? We're down to Nate? Nate! 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 We're on the baddest guy! 1, 3, big general! Go over and grab those guys' hand when we're done. 1, 2, 3! Good job, guys. Tomorrow. Win tomorrow. Thank you. We have to win tomorrow. We're going to walk home. We'll walk home. Yeah. We were out to run to the high school earlier today, didn't I? Good to see you guys again. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Good to see you. I got hit so hard I went to the wrong huddle, and he come and got me, drug me by my shirt. Over here. I didn't recognize anybody. Yeah, we played on the same team. I was like, yeah, it was good.
13-13. He says, there's Newark. And this next guy was trying to say what his favorite game was. He says Marietta. He said, God damn it, I thought it was Newark. I know who it was. He goes, no, I'm telling you who my favorite game was. You know, they get into it. I thought it was something else. It was something. Way out around.
Reverses, we get the way out around. I don't know if I ever tackled him on. I know I hit him. You got to get back on the Oh, yeah. That's Ross Catholic Center, so get up there. All in the field. I associate with all basketball.
I got to meet a lot of great people I've heard their names I never got to meet before. I got to see the look on people's faces who thought they were forgotten, but realized, hey, they remembered. You know, they left their mark, their names in a book. People stood up and cheered for them, and that Field of Dreams thing under the lights was pretty impressive. I seen these old guys struggling to get out to the field, and once they stepped across the end line into the end zone, you see them straighten up and that energy come back to them.
Bob Easter was right when he stated you could feel the energy in the air. It was truly a field of dreams and of memories which will live with each player forever and ever. On Friday evening, it appeared the entire town had gathered at Stewart Field for the first home game against Ridgewood. An exact number of attendants was not available, but there were thousands of fans and alumni there to cheer the Redskins on to victory. All of the former players, cheerleaders, and band members who attended this celebration were introduced to the audience.
Still have three we don't know. If the names up here, we'll do it now. Megan Metz. Nancy Laura Scott. Ellen Wilson Quarter Lutz.
Then, Ed Stewart was introduced as the oldest living Redskin football alumnus.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to midfield is a very distinguished guest. Mr. Ed Stewart, at 93 years of age, is our most senior Redskin football alumnus in attendance. Since 1896, Coshocton boys have played football here on Stewart Field. In 1899, Coshocton High School's first official football team took the field with two Stewart brothers. These young men were Ed Stewart's father and uncle. Since the beginning of Coshocton football, the Stewart family has been involved perhaps more than any other. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join me in welcoming the member of the founding family of Coshocton football, Mr. Ed Stewart. As a token of our appreciation, Mr. Tony Scott, Superintendent of Coshocton Schools, is presenting Mr. Stewart with a new varsity jacket. Assisting Mr. Stewart is Mr. Roger Moore, Principal of Coshocton High School. And now, will the representative from Ridgewood High School please come to the midfield?
Hi there, am I supposed to come in? Well, self-congratulations. Hey, how's it feel? Yes, sir! There you are, Ed. There you are, wonderful.
As a representative player from each decade lined up on the sideline, the Pass the Torch ceremony began with Ed Stewart handing the ball to Shorty Slaughter on the 30-yard line. Shorty represented the 1930s, and Ed, of course, played in 1922.
Mr. Ed Stewart, you may begin. He's going to pass it to Shorty Slaughter. Shorty played in the 30s.
Get up. You're in my shot. Where's your damn camera?
Shorty Slaughter is going to pass it to Deacon Gross. Shorty was a quarterback, I think.
Yeah.
Deacon Gross is going to pass it to Dick Lawrence. Dick played in the 50s.
This action proceeded down the sidelines until the ball reached Jason Thornley, a member of the 1999 team, who ran the ball into the locker room.
Dick Lawrence is going to pass it to Scott Clark. Scott played in the 60s.
Can we get down that way too?
Scott Clark will pass it to Ross Porter. Ross played in the 70s. Ross will pass it to Marty Argenbright. Marty played in the 80s. Chris Thornsley, who played in the 90s. Chris Thornsley will pass it to his brother Jason Thornsley, the next millennium. Congratulations to Coshocton, 100 years of football.
Take her a snack. Good to see you guys. Give it along. See you later. Captain. Hey, Captain. Come get your beating.
A commemorative coin was tossed by the officials at center field. The Redskins wanted the ball first.
Anything like that, you guys take care of it so we don't have to, okay? Other than that, rock and roll, play football. Who's speaker over here for visitors? Number 4 speaker here. Speaker here is 18. Okay. This one we have. Name of the team that's Ted. That's Ted. Ted. You'll call it in the air. If I drop it, we'll throw it over so a lot of men can hear it. Heads. Heads is called. Okay, there you go. Heads it is. He's on the top. Go to first. You want to deflect for a second. Football, which goal would you like to send?
Would have been that goal.
Okay, step that way. Black, you step this way. Camera's on. Okay, guys, once again, hold your teams.
Coshocton will receive.
Guys, give the points to the guy right now. He likes to go. Fight that.
The Coshocton High School band marched onto the field for the playing of the national anthem.
Coshocton High School alma mater.
The alumni band members joined them on the field to play the Coshocton High School alma mater.
Alexander Murphy. My maiden name was Cease. I messed up already. It's fun. It feels pretty neat to be down here. Brings back memories.
My name is Sherry Williams-Jones. I'm from the class of 1980. And it's fabulous to be here tonight. It's really a fun time.
My name is Ann Landschultz Simpson, and I'm also from the class of 1980. And my mom is also right here, and she told me she never had pom-poms when she was a cheerleader. So I'm learning things that I never knew before.
Hi, I'm Mary Ellen McConnell Landschultz, and I graduated in 1952. So I'm just happy to be able to be down here. It's a lot of fun. Good idea.
I'm Becky Kinkley Weir, and I graduated in 1984. And I don't think too much has changed, really. We do CHS when I was in school, and they still do it. We did Go Fight Win, we still do Go Fight Win. We never did Ya Redskin, though. But that was a good one. I like to learn that cheer.
My name's Peggy Shutt Frank, and I graduated in 1980. I'm happy to be here. It's a lot of fun.
First down at 10.
Brings back memories.
All right, my name is Robin Murphy Walters, and I graduated in the year of 1976, the bicentennial year, and I was in band for 4 years. and I'm having a good time. This has been a lot of fun. We've had a real great time doing this.
My name is Gail Dickerson. I graduated in the class of 1976, and I love this. It's wonderful.
I'm Bobby Kimberly, and I graduated in 1986, and I love it too. We're yelling real loud. These kids will know how to yell when we're done.
Hi, I'm Patty Ruff, and I graduated in 1980. Just it brings back memories when we were marching and I was squad leader, and my squad ended up clear on the other side of the football field. That's it.
The 100 years of Coshocton football memorabilia will be sold at halftime and after the game in the Pepsi trailer behind the east end zone, which is down by the locker rooms. We'd also like to thank ABS Video Production of Westerville. Have been in Coshocton since Thursday morning and will film all of our events through Saturday night's memorabilia show. The film can be ordered at the Pepsi trailer at halftime and after the game.
A gigantic tunnel was formed by parents and alumni for the introduction of the Redskins starting lineup. As each player ran through the tunnel, the intensity of the crowd grew.
Tonight playing at safety, number 4, Kyle Myers. At DB, defensive back, number 10, Ryan McGraw. Number 18, at defensive back, Joe Rucker. Outside linebacker, number 21, Ricky Ciccone. At outside linebacker, number 28, Jared Brickles. At defensive tackle, number 33, Brian Birchie. At linebacker, number 39, Josh Kaufman. At defensive end, Chuck Crosley, number 53. At linebacker, number 55, Nate Porter. At defensive tackle, number 71, Scott Donnelly. And at defensive end, number 78, Abe Bartunik. And the rest of the Coshocton High School football team, head coached by Wade Lucas in his 11th year. Assistant coaches, Jim Argenbright, Marty Argenbright, Jerry Shook, Jim Woodrum, Eric Fickle.
There was magic in the air. Excitement could be seen everywhere you looked. The anticipation for this particular game was so high, it was deafening. Joe Rucker had promised them a good show. Everyone was there to support him and this 1999 Redskin team, and they weren't disappointed. On the first play of the game, Ricky Ciccone ran the ball over 50 yards for a touchdown. That set the tone for the remainder of the game.
Great. Doing real great.
They look like they're a very well-trained team.
28-0 reminds me of 1946. We played Lancaster down here, and the score was 40-0 at the end of the half, and varsity never got back in. No, seriously, this is a good bunch of kids. They're well coached, and they got a lot of good, loyal fan support here tonight. And I believe this 100-year thing has been a tremendous success.
Think about this game tonight.
About what I expected. It went right so far.
They look good. They look tough. They look like they're ready to play. And I'm impressed with their intensity and hard running. Ciccone and Davis, very capable backs, and they've got good blocking. Their play selection is pretty good too. They might open it up a little bit with some more passing because I don't think they can defend against them. So this looks like a good, another good Coshocton team, and I hope they go all the way.
In the second half, the Redskins continued to pound Ridgewood. At the close of the 48-6 victory, you could feel the satisfaction everyone felt as they left the stands and gathered around the victory bell. The game was certainly the high point of the weekend celebration and a moment in time that everyone would always remember.
You know, football brings you together. If nothing else does, football will. As a team.
An alumni breakfast was planned for Saturday morning. Lots of good food accompanied by discussions about the football victory the night before. Everyone was winding down and exchanging addresses and phone numbers. It was a bit saddening that the celebration was coming to an end. But there was still one more stop to make. Organizers of the 100 Years of Coshocton Football celebration had requested memorabilia from the alumni who were attending the celebration. At the Pomerine Center, arrangements were made to showcase their photos, clothing, equipment, and news clippings about Redskin football history.
think it's great. I mean, it's going to be special to them, of course, because they haven't played football in so long. But, you know, I think, you know, it's not important now, but I think I'll start appreciating it more in my older years as it starts getting older. But yeah, I think it's great that they come back and can reminisce on how they used to play football back in the day.
I think it's great. I mean, I don't think anyone else around this area could say that they had 100 years of football. I mean, this is something that everybody that played football for Coshocton should participate in, because this is unreal. You'll never see this again, you know.
Some of the things they're doing are really exciting. Putting the 1899 team guys in with the 1999 team, that is super. Whoever thought of that was on the ball.
It used to be on Friday nights in a ball game, the band and the football team went right down Main Street to Stewart Field. There's a parade every Friday night in the home games, and the community would be out there waving flags as they come down Main Street. Well, it doesn't happen anymore because of the distance from our school to the field, but I think with the pep rally and the short parade, the newspaper, the radio, all those things, inviting people, having free events, it did reunite the community in the school. And it got our kids today to realize that a lot of those guys out in the community are past football players and coaches and band members. And the kids look at the community different, and the community looks at the kids different. I also want to develop a little unity between the cheerleaders and the band and the football program. I know they fight for space and time, usually on the same field. They need to support each other, not be in contest with each other for space and time. And I think we did that as well. The band this year, you heard them in the parade and the pep rally. They rock. They're loud, and they're doing well. The football team is excited about it, and the band's excited about the football team. So I think excitement, it did make the community look good. It made the school look good. It made the past and the present look good. Again, it was a win-win situation for everybody. So, yeah, I think we could have lost some things. We could have hurt some people's feelings. We could have driven a wedge between some people, but it didn't seem to happen. It came off well. Thanks to an awful lot of people, you know, doing the right thing. So, yeah, I think it was very successful.
The 100 years of Coshocton football celebration was certainly successful. It was the perfect vehicle to reunite old friends, recognize those who deserve it, experience a special moment in time, and to create a little history as well. The 100 Years Committee and all those involved deserve a hearty congratulations for a job well done.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, and I've just been told that Coshocton is celebrating 100 years of football. That's just fabulous. Congratulations, Coshocton, on keeping that football spirit alive.
But this is not the end of the story. The 100 years of Coshocton football celebration must have influenced the 99 anniversary team more than anyone expected. The varsity team not only made it to the playoffs, but they became district champs and were headed to the regional finals. But more important than their success was the phenomenal support they received from the Coshocton community. Hundreds of loyal fans and alumni met at the high school, like they had done before each playoff game, to show their support for the 1999 Redskins when they took on a Canton powerhouse team, Cardinal Mooney, for the regional championship.
this is Redskin Fever. Look at it. I mean, what a great support for our kids. We've been building this all year long, and this is the climax right here. We got 2 more weeks to go yet, though, but this is the regional finals, and we're just ready to root our team to victory tonight.
We're tailgating for the playoff game at Fawcett Stadium.
I think it's just phenomenal. I have never seen anything like it. Having grown up in Dover and Philly, I thought they had team spirit and school support, but we have all county-wide support. It's incredible. It is just incredible.
I just want to wish these guys good luck this year, and I think they played their heart out, and I know they can go to state and win it all.
It is so cool. It's our senior year, and it means a lot that everyone's here. It's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to wish the guys good luck. They got a real solid team this year, looking to go all the way to state, win it all.
Well, I'll tell you what, I did. With the coaching staff we got and the kids, I definitely felt that this is one of the better teams that Coshocton's ever had. It took us 100 years to get here, and by golly, we're going all the way.
These are the family, the hopes, the dreams. It's all coming true, and all these people are pushing for these kids to go all the way. We wish them the best. They're winners already, and it just doesn't matter. This is all we ever hoped for and dreamed for, and it's coming true.
This is so cool, being a senior our senior year, and just coming and winning all these playoff games, and everybody supporting us. It's great.
I just want to wish them good luck this year. They've done real well all year, and I think the main reason for this success is because they've worked so hard for the last few years and everything, and push each other. And I just want to wish them good luck.
Well, if you talk to the players, there is no I in team, and that's just the way they look at it. It's a team sport. They love it.
Go Redskins! Go Redskins!
Unbelievable. You know, this year's club, we were worried there at the beginning of the year as far as the 100-year celebration, you know, and all the past teams and so forth, and losing focus on this year's team. But we really wanted to make it effort that that's the past. We're celebrating it, but this is their year as well, and we wanted to keep the focus on them as well. And as you can see, they haven't let us down one bit.
of them were playing tonight. Here it is, regional runner-up, 1999 Division IV football, regional runner-up in the state of Ohio. Congratulations, Coshocton. Thank you. Coach, congratulations. I know how you feel, but great year.
Congratulations to the Coshocton Redskins as they finish their season with an outstanding record of 10-3.
Pass around, Will. Got it.
Underclassmen, remember this. Win this shit next year.
Hell yeah.
Taking second place in the regionals was a hard pill to swallow. They had come so far, farther than any other Coshocton team. They had given their best. It just wasn't enough. Expressions of frustration were on every face, more so on some than others. As they left the field in disappointment, they didn't realize what they had accomplished. It would take something extraordinary to make them realize how heroic they really were, and that they were appreciated. As the team bus pulled into town, they stopped in front of the courthouse square, where the celebration had begun just months before. They were greeted by hundreds of fans, with the band playing and cheerleaders cheering. It was their way of expressing how they felt about their team.
Redskins are still number one!
Are you pumpkin? You see it?
Oh, yeah. Bright lights.
I don't know what to say. This is fantastic. Obviously, we didn't get done what we wanted to get done, but I think that we could safely say that this is a great bunch of guys right here, and they deserve everything that they've got. I'm going to ask the captains to finish this thing off the same way we started. I'm awful proud of all four of these guys and that senior class. So, Scotty, you want to go first?
First of all, I'd like to thank all these guys for giving me a chance to play with them this year. And I'd like to thank everybody for the support.
Hey, go ahead.
You guys are great. The support has been unbelievable. I'd like to thank these guys. It's been a great season. Thank our coaches. They're great people. Thank God for giving us the opportunity.
All right, Nate. I'd like to thank everybody here for backing us up all the way, 100%. I'd like to thank everybody here, all these guys. They're like second family to me. I just want to say thanks to everybody. Joe!
Thank you. Don't be sad for long. I mean, it
to be back here next year. The class is behind us. Tremendous. They'll get the job done next year. I root for them already. Thank you to all. I mean, you guys should all be up here. We're all one team, and I thank you all.
In closing, I just, what a fantastic job from this community and this town and you guys. And if we can take this and carry this into the winter season, we're going to go places during the winter time also. And next year we're coming back. We're going to be back here after we beat Mooney.
I don't think any of us will ever forget, pulling into the court square after those playoff wins, and even after that playoff loss, and seeing all those people, all that support. We talk a lot of times about reasons that you play athletics at the high school level, and I think one of the big reasons is you build memories throughout your life. And I know that these guys, this team, me, we will all take that with us, and we'll take that right down to our dying days, seeing those people supporting us and that band playing, those people cheering. I mean, that's what it's all about. I don't think you could celebrate 100 years any better than that.
Oh, I live here. Yeah, love it here. I want to raise my kids here. I want my boy to play for Coshocton. Hopefully the next one that's coming on the way, I want him to play.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the fans from Coshocton and the supporters of this high school team. They're unusual.
The businesses and industry in town, they back everything, and they do a good job of not only Coshocton, but they help Riverview and Ridgewood too. So they take care of the county, and about anything anybody needs, you're going to get it sooner or later.
Well, I tell you, I can't say enough about the community and the staff here at the school. We had a great ride.
That pretty much says it all.